day, curious chrononauts! Sir Chuckleton here, ready to whisk you to an era often romanticized, the 19th century. We envision steam engines, grand factories, bustling cities, right? But beneath that gleaming veneer of progress, a pungent truth lurked. Picture burgeoning metropolises like London or New York, swelling with humanity. Factories belched soot, painting skies gray. Horse-drawn carriages left tons of organic fertilizer. Rudimentary sanitation failed spectacularly to cope with human waste. Rivers, once vital, became open sewers. Drinking water, a cocktail of questionable provenance. The air, a Dickensian haze, reeked of industrial effluent and decaying refuse. This wasn't mere inconvenience. It was a slow-motion environmental catastrophe, an unsung urban villain that silently stalked, leading to disease and public health decline. This era illustrates a crucial lesson. Progress, unchecked, often brings unintended, unsavory consequences. A fascinating, if rather malodorous chapter, wouldn't you agree?
Ah, the good old days. Before roaring engines, cities moved to a different beat. Clippity-clop. We're talking horses, the four-legged engines of industry, commerce, and daily life in our burgeoning urban centers. From delivery carts to omnibuses, these magnificent creatures were the undisputed kings of the road. But with great horsepower comes great quantities of a rather pungent byproduct. Imagine London, New York, or Paris in the late 19th century. Thousands of horses, each producing 20 to 50 pounds of manure daily. That's a monumental, aromatic, logistical nightmare. Streets were literally awash. The Great Horse Manure Crisis of 1894, though humorously named, was a real, pressing concern. Experts predicted that by 1950, every street in London would be buried 9 feet deep in horse dung. The smell, the flies, the disease, it was a public health catastrophe. Paradoxically, the very animal powering progress threatened to bury civilization under its own output. A golden age, perhaps, but certainly of dung. The solution? Well, that's a tale for another time.
Ah, the turn of the 20th century, a time of grand ambition and an absolutely mind-boggling amount of horse manure. We often laud the industrial age, but few ponder its fragrant downsides. Imagine the bustling streets of London circa 1890. Not charming bobbies and red buses, but an aromatic slippery carpet of equine leavings. Every cab, delivery dray, gentleman's carriage contributed its pungent quota. New York wasn't far behind. Its avenues meant for grandeur became stables without walls. Tenements reeked. Diseases flourished. The very air was thick with it. This wasn't merely inconvenience. It was an urban crisis, a biological time bomb ticking away underfoot. The sheer scale, the astronomical tonnage, eventually reached a critical mass. This was a great stink, one that didn't quite make history with the capital S like its London namesake, but was just as impactful. It pushed cities to their limits, forcing reevaluation of how we manage urban ecosystems. An ecological, logistical, and olfactory nightmare, paving the way for change one steaming pile at a time.
Now imagine urban centers of yore, bustling, yes, but also pungently aromatic. Waste management was less a system, more a prayer. City streets often paved with organic matter. Horse manure, household refuse, market discards, it all accumulated. This wasn't merely aesthetic, it was a biological ticking bomb. The air, heavy with miasma, foul odors, was widely believed to cause disease. That putrid smell was thought to be the sickness itself. While the miasma theory was scientifically off, it highlighted a crucial truth. Poor sanitation equals poor health. These colossal piles of filth became breeding grounds for our tiny, unseen friends, bacteria, viruses, and the industrious rat. Fleas thriving on rats became vectors, turning a bite into a death sentence. Public health in its infancy often meant sweeping problems elsewhere, or rudimentary sewage systems still emptying into rivers. It was a grim realization: individual health inextricably linked to city hygiene. A truly curious and rather pungent chapter in our shared history. Wouldn't you agree?
Welcome, dear viewers, to a tale as old as cities themselves. Before our modern marvels of sanitation, urban planners faced a rather colossal conundrum. Imagine, if you will, ancient Rome, a magnificent metropolis, but also a giant, open-air, incredibly aromatic refuse bin. Yes, the logistics of simply existing in a dense urban environment were mind-boggling. How do you feed a million mouths? More importantly, where does all the input from those million mouths go? Early cities were often, quite literally, drowning in their own refuse. Streets were not merely thoroughfares, but sometimes became impromptu landfills. The sheer scale was astronomical. Infrastructure, like aqueducts, was brilliant. But imagine trying to collect and dispose of everything without modern engineering. It was an impossible challenge, a constant battle against the tides of human waste and consumption, shaping the very fabric of our urban landscapes in ways we often overlook today. A true testament to human ingenuity and our enduring messiness. Dear viewers, imagine a city, bustling and grand, suddenly faced with a colossal invisible foe. Not a dragon, mind you, but something far more insidious: economic paralysis. The coffers, once brimming, now echoed with emptiness. Municipal services, the very sinews of urban life, began to fray. And who, pray tell, bore the brunt of this fiscal fisticuff? Not the gilded towers, oh no. It was always the humbler districts, the vibrant public squares, now silent and decaying, that felt the keenest edge of this economic drag. Libraries dimmed, parks withered, and the social fabric, already strained, threatened to tear. A stark reminder, isn't it, of how interconnected our urban ecosystems truly are, and how the absence of one cog can grind the whole machine to a halt. The rich might retreat to their estates, but the daily life of the common citizen, their public spaces, their sense of community suffered profoundly. The rich might retreat to their estates, but the daily life of the common citizen, their public spaces, their sense of community suffered profoundly. This wasn't just about money, it was about the soul of the city. Welcome back, fellow seekers of the absurd. Today we delve into history's forgotten proposals, solutions so desperate, so utterly delusional, they make modern crowdfunding look utterly sane. Take the 19th century urban dilemma: horse manure. Mountains of it. Cities were literally drowning in equine detritus. One brilliant mind, likely after a strong cup of tea, suggested designated urban burial grounds for the stuff. Picture this: a charming Parisian park, but beneath your picnic blanket, a literal mound of yesterday's horse droppings. Practical? Perhaps. Aromatic? Unquestionably. Then there was the idea of manure-fueled streetlights, essentially giant methane lanterns powered by, well, you know, a glowing testament to desperation. Or consider the desperate medical cures. Before hygiene, doctors proposed therapeutic bleeding or even drinking molten lead for certain ailments. Spoiler, it didn't work. In fact, it often expedited the patient's departure to the great beyond.
These weren't mere eccentricities, they were serious, albeit misguided attempts to fix colossal problems. From pollution to pandemics, humanity has always sought solutions. Sometimes, those solutions were just manure. But hey, at least they tried. And in their valiant, if misguided efforts, they offer us a fascinating, fragrant glimpse into the human capacity for invention, desperation, and the occasional truly terrible idea.
Welcome, dear viewers, to another jaunt through history's curious corridors. Today, we unravel a truly pungent paradox, the unsung hero of urban sanitation. Imagine, if you will, the bustling metropolises of the late 19th century. New York, London, Paris. Grand, yes, but also rather odorous. Horses, essential for transport, were prodigious producers of a rather inconvenient byproduct. A single horse generated 20 pounds of manure daily. Multiply that by hundreds of thousands in a city, and you have a veritable mountain of organic matter. Roads became mires, disease a constant threat. Experts predicted an urban manure apocalypse by the 1920s. Solutions were pondered. Manure-powered energy? Giant incinerators? Then, chugging onto the scene, not as a luxury, but as a surprising accidental savior, came the automobile. These horseless carriages, initially derided, swiftly displaced their equine counterparts. Suddenly, the streets cleared. The stench receded. The manure crisis evaporated. Not by design, but by mechanical revolution. From oats to octane, a fragrant problem found its rather loud, exhaust-fumed solution. History, eh? Always full of surprises.
Ah, dear viewers, Sir Chuckleton here, pondering the peculiar paradox of progress. We often charge forth, solving one grand problem, only to inadvertently spawn another, like a historical game of whack-a-mole. Consider London, 19th century, a fragrant metropolis by all accounts. Its streets, alas, were a rather potent blend of horse manure and human effluence. The stench was legendary, a genuine public health crisis. Enter the mighty engineer Joseph Bazalgette. His solution? A magnificent subterranean sewer system, whisking away the filth. A triumph of sanitation, the great stink vanquished. But what became of the horse? Its purpose waned. The internal combustion engine roared to life. Cars replaced carriages, and our cities, once filled with equine aromas, now inhaled a new invisible fume. The air, once thick with organic decay, now bore the silent, insidious breath of carbon emissions. A different kind of stink, perhaps, but equally detrimental and far more pervasive. From visible muck to invisible smog. A philosophical shift, wouldn't you say? We clean the immediate only to cloud the distant horizon. Each solution a seed for a future conundrum. It's a testament to human ingenuity, and perhaps a gentle reminder. True progress isn't just about solving problems, but understanding the ripple effects, the downstream dilemmas. Always thinking ahead, eh?